welcome, viewers, to a journey into the shadows of one of our most beloved fairy tales. Today, we're peeling back the layers of Sleeping Beauty to reveal a story far more disturbing and complex than Disney ever showed us. Most of us know the Brothers Grimm version from 1812. A king and queen desperately want a child. A magical frog promises them a daughter, and soon a beautiful princess is born. 13 wise women are invited to bless the child, but only 12 golden plates exist. The uninvited 13th woman arrives in fury, cursing the princess to die on her 15th birthday from a spindle's prick. The 12th wise woman softens this curse. Instead of death, the princess will sleep for 100 years. The king burns all spindles in the kingdom, but fate cannot be escaped. On her 15th birthday, Princess Briar Rose discovers an old woman spinning in a forgotten tower. She touches the spindle, pricks her finger, and falls into enchanted sleep, along with the entire castle. A century passes. Thick thorns grow around the castle, claiming the lives of many princes who attempt to reach the Sleeping Beauty. Finally, exactly 100 years later, a brave prince arrives. The thorns part like flowers. He finds Briar Rose and awakens her with true love's kiss. They marry and live happily ever after. But this sanitized version hides much darker roots. Let's travel back to 1636, over 150 years before the Grimms, to an Italian tale called Sun, Moon and Talia by Giambattista Basile. In this version, Talia doesn't fall into enchanted sleep, she dies. A splinter of flax gets under her nail and she drops dead. Her grieving father places her on a throne and abandons the house entirely. Years later, a king discovers the abandoned mansion while hunting. He finds Talia's perfectly preserved body and, believing she's merely asleep, tries to wake her. When this fails, her beauty overwhelms him, and he rapes her unconscious body before returning to his kingdom. 9 months later, Talia gives birth to twins while still dead. Fairies attend the birth, and one day, a baby sucks the flax splinter from her finger, bringing her back to life. She awakens to find herself a mother with no memory of how it happened. The king eventually returns and is delighted to find Talia alive with their children, named Sun and Moon. But his jealous wife discovers the affair. In a fit of rage, she orders the children killed and cooked, serving them to her husband as dinner. She taunts him, saying, "Eat, eat, for you are eating your own." The queen then tries to burn Talia alive, but the king arrives just in time. The evil queen is thrown into her own fire, and the king marries Talia. Fortunately, the cook had hidden the real children and served lamb instead. But here's where the story becomes truly chilling. It might be based on real events. Consider the case of Catherine of Valois, wife of England's King Henry V, who died in 1437. During renovations at Westminster Abbey in the early 1500s, Catherine's tomb was accidentally damaged, revealing her miraculously preserved corpse. She appeared to be merely sleeping, her beauty intact after decades in the grave. Word spread about the beautiful dead queen, and she became a macabre tourist attraction. For nearly 350 years, visitors came to see her body. The famous diarist Samuel Pepys wrote in 1669, "I did kiss her mouth, reflecting upon it I did kiss a queen." This became a twisted tradition, kissing the corpse of the Sleeping Beauty. Over the centuries, tourists took pieces of her body as souvenirs. By the time she was properly reburied in 1878, most of her skull, vertebrae, ribs, and all her teeth were missing, stolen by visitors over the years. Catherine's case wasn't unique. Medieval Europe was fascinated with incorrupt bodies, women whose corpses remained perfectly preserved after death. The Catholic Church saw this as divine favor, a sign of holiness and purity. Saint Catherine of Bologna, discovered perfectly preserved in 1463, was placed on a throne in her church where she remains today. These incorrupt women were often displayed for public veneration, their preserved beauty seen as miraculous. This obsession reflected medieval beliefs about women's bodies and purity. Medical theory claimed women were more prone to corruption due to excess blood and phlegm. Religious doctrine painted women as inherently sinful after Eve's temptation. An incorrupt female body therefore represented the ultimate virtue: beauty preserved, sin conquered. The story's roots go even deeper. In Greek mythology, Danae was imprisoned by her father to prevent a prophecy that her son would kill him. Zeus visited her as golden rain, resulting in Perseus's birth. Another tale of a captive woman, divine intervention, and miraculous conception. Norse mythology tells of Brunhild, a valkyrie cursed to sleep surrounded by fire until awakened by a brave hero. The spinning motif connects to the ancient fates, supernatural beings who literally spun the threads of mortal destinies. Even the earliest surviving Sleeping Beauty story, Perseforest from 1340, features divine rape and miraculous birth. Princess Zelendine is cursed to sleep when she touches flax. The knight Troilus, guided by Venus, makes love to her unconscious body. She gives birth while sleeping, and the baby sucking her finger awakens her. These stories reveal uncomfortable truths about historical attitudes toward women. The spindle and pricking finger symbolize menstruation and sexual awakening. The long sleep represents the transition from girlhood to womanhood. The prince's kiss symbolizes male validation as necessary for female completion. The father burning all spindles reflects a parent's desperate attempt to prevent their daughter from growing up. The thorns that claim many princes but part for the right one reinforce ideas about female selectivity and worth. Most disturbing is the recurring theme of sexual contact with unconscious women, reflecting historical power dynamics where women had little agency over their own bodies and destinies. Despite their dark origins, Sleeping Beauty stories persist because they speak to universal human experiences, the inevitability of growing up, the power of fate, and the transition from innocence to experience. They also reflect the societies that created them. Ancient cultures believed in predetermined destiny controlled by divine forces. Medieval Christianity emphasized that life events were part of God's plan, teaching humility and obedience through stories where passive heroines still achieve their destined happiness. The evolution from Bazile's disturbing tale to the grim sanitized version to Disney's romantic adaptation shows how stories adapt to changing values while maintaining their core appeal. So the next time you see Sleeping Beauty's castle at Disney World or watch the animated classic, remember, you're experiencing the final, sanitized version of a tale rooted in death, desire, and the real-life display of beautiful corpses. The story's enduring power lies not just in its romantic surface, but in its deep, dark roots that tap into ancient fears and fascinations about death, beauty, fate, and the complex nature of growing up. Perhaps that's what makes fairy tales so compelling. Beneath their magical surfaces lie the raw, uncomfortable truths about human nature and the societies that shaped them. The real magic isn't in the happy ending, but in how these dark stories transform across centuries while never quite losing their disturbing power to fascinate us.